Over the last week or so, there has been multiple different NHL prospect tournaments going on. This is something that happens every summer before training camp gets underway, and it's not something that's taken too seriously. It's not really all that comparable to the NBA Summer League, where every team is just in a tournament and there's one champion. I believe there's 6 different NHL prospect tournaments going on at the same time. Like I mentioned, it isn't something that's taken too seriously. If you watched any of these games, they have more of a scrimmage feel than the feel of an actual NHL game, or even a preseason game for that matter. Teams don't play with a whole lot of structure. It's basically just a tournament so these prospects can show off their skills. You see a lot of really high scoring games, but it's still fun nonetheless, and it's something that I'm glad the NHL does. I watched a handful of these prospect tournament games between, Bedard's first game in a Blackhawks uniform, the Red Wings prospect tournament games, so I thought I would sit down and make this quick video kind of overreacting to some of the things I've seen. And I say overreacting because, again, I don't think this tournament should be taken too seriously, or these tournaments I should say, but it's the closest thing that we've gotten to NHL hockey since the Stanley Cup Finals, and I don't know about you guys, but I'm ready to talk about the NHL. So I guess let's just start out with what was probably the biggest story to come out of any of these prospect tournament games, and that is Connor Bedard's first game in a Blackhawks uniform. And man, it doesn't matter what level he's playing at, where he's playing, this guy always lives up to the hype and puts on a show. In the sole game he played for the Blackhawks in the prospect tournament, a hat trick and an assist. The dude is just absolutely electric, and after watching that performance by Connor Bedard, I know it was just in a prospect tournament. Again, we're overreacting here. That's the whole premise of this video, but I'm kind of starting to think, like, am I underrating Connor Bedard heading into his rookie season? I always try to keep my expectations in check when it comes to rookies, especially rookies with as much hype as Connor Bedard has, because if you're expecting Connor Bedard to come in and, put up 90 plus points and 40 plus goals as a rookie, and say he only maybe has a 25 goal, 60 point season, you're probably going to be left pretty disappointed. I saw this tweet yesterday from Big Head Hockey, which is a fantastic Twitter account. If you're a hockey fan and you're on Twitter frequently, definitely recommend going and giving them a follow. The tweet is most goals from an 18-year-old rookie in the cap era. First, Crosby with 39, Laine with 36, Jeff Skinner with 31, Jordan Staal with 29, 24 for McKinnon, 23 for Stammer, and 20 for Andrei Svechnikov. With Bedard's current shot with 27 goals be a disappointment for him. I wouldn't be for my personal expectations. I'm thinking Bedard's going to be in the range of, 25 to 30 goals, 60-ish points. I think those are realistic expectations, but I'm starting to think that maybe this guy's just going to dominate and blow those expectations out of the water. Like, no offense at all to Jeff Skinner and Jordan Staal, but they scored 31 and 29 goals as 18-year-olds. I think if Connor Bedard stays healthy, this is somebody with a legit shot at 40. And just look at the way that he scored his hat trick in the prospect tournament as well. The first goal, his first goal in a Blackhawks uniform, just the patented drag release shot from Bedard. I think you can make a case that this guy should already be in the conversation for the best release in the NHL. No NHL goaltender is stopping this shot. His second goal, in my opinion, definitely the most impressive of the three. Just look at this video, this angle of his second goal of the game, and credit to Pavel Barber for this video. And I know it's on the power play, an area of the game where Connor Bedard is probably going to just completely dominate throughout his career, but who on the ice, including the goaltender, is expecting him to take that shot? There's probably not many players in the NHL right now that would even think to take that shot, let alone be able to pick a corner like that. Just unreal. His hat-trick goal, not anything too special, gets a pass while cutting through the middle pretty far out here and shoots through a Blues defender and beats the goaltender. That's one that a lot of NHL goalies are probably going to save, but I mean, it looks like maybe he could have been screened by his own defenseman there. Connor Bedard would also add an assist in this game, so a 4-point night, including a hat-trick. Just an unreal first performance. Again, I know it's only a prospect tournament, but as if Blackhawks fans weren't excited enough for Connor Bedard, I'm sure they're just that much more excited after watching this game. The only games I watched throughout the prospect tournaments were Connor Bedard's first game with the Blackhawks, and then 2 of the 3 Red Wings games. I didn't watch their final one against the Maple Leafs, but I did watch their 10-7 loss that came at the hands of the Columbus Blue Jackets, a game where Adam Fantilli, not to be outdone by Connor Bedard, Fantilli had 3 goals and 2 assists for 5 points in that 10-7 win over the Red Wings. Fantilli would finish the tournament with 7 points in 2 games. Just cannot say enough good things about Adam Fantilli and his performance in that game against the Red Wings. Every single time he was on the ice, every single time he had the puck on his stick, he was making something happen. His first goal of his hat-trick was this beauty where he walked through 3 Red Wings players and shelved a backhander. One of his 2 assists was this beauty backhand sauce to David Juracek, who ended up finishing the play. So Adam Fantilli was definitely showing off the backhander in this game. Just an absolute treat to watch. Columbus definitely has a good one. Adam Fantilli has all the potential in the world and all the tools to be, in my opinion, one of the best centermen in the NHL for a very long time. Fantilli is exactly the kind of player that the Blue Jackets have needed and have been looking for such a long time. They finally have that franchise centerman. And now moving on to the final subject that I wanted to touch on stemming from the prospect tournament, this one involving the Red Wings and goaltender Sebastian Cossa, their 15th overall draft pick from the 2021 NHL draft. And there's really no sugarcoating it. Sebastian Cossa had a nightmare of a prospect tournament. He was in net for, I believe, 7 of the 10 goals Columbus scored in that 10-7 victory. He played a total of 84 minutes and 53 seconds in the tournament, an 0-3 record, a .759 save percentage, and a 9.19 goals against average. Now, in Sebastian Cossa's defense, like I mentioned at the start of this video, these prospect tournament games aren't really played with a whole lot of structure. They're more like a scrimmage. It's a lot of offense, guys trying to show off what they can do in their skill set offensively, things like that. There's a lot of high-scoring games throughout the whole thing, but still, for a goaltender who, was a first-round draft pick 2 years ago now, I think, especially against competition like this, it's not like a lot of these guys are going to be playing in the NHL this season. A lot of them probably won't even be playing in the AHL this season. You want your first-round pick to look a lot better than what Sebastian Cossa looked like in this tournament. I'm certainly not going to write him off just because of, his performance in a prospect tournament. I think overall this past season was a positive year for Sebastian Cossa's development. 26, 16, and 4 in the ECHL, a .913 save percentage. This is definitely going to be a massive year for Sebastian Cossa and his development, though. The hope and the expectation is that Cossa gets in a lot of games at the AHL level and kind of graduates from the ECHL, but this prospect tournament is really where the season kicks off for a lot of these young guys, and then you get into training camp and preseason, and there's no getting around the fact that it was a very, very rough start to the year for Sebastian Cossa. And for Red Wings fans, it's really difficult not to keep an eye on Jesper Wallstedt, who was kind of the consensus best goaltender in the draft in 2021. Was a little bit of a surprise when Detroit decided to go with Cossa over Wallstedt, and I think it's safe to say up until this point in each of these goaltenders' development that Jesper Wallstedt is definitely looking like the more promising goaltender. That's pretty much all I wanted to go over, though, from the prospect tournaments that have taken place over the last week or so. Again, the whole premise of this video was to overreact, so don't take this too seriously, but man, I was just dying to talk about some actual hockey games, and although these games felt more like scrimmages, they were still hockey games nonetheless, including players that are going to be, the future of the NHL. So that is pretty much going to wrap up this video. As always, I want to know your guys' thoughts, so if you're somebody who tuned in to some prospect tournament games, let me know your thoughts on whatever prospects or games you watched down below in the comments. Of course, give me your thoughts on any of the subjects that we touched on in this video, and also, if you enjoyed the video, please be sure to leave it a like. That is the best way to show your support, and most importantly, if this was your first time checking out the channel and you want more NHL content just like this all season long, hit that subscribe button, and I'll talk to you all soon.